enhanced national profile too. It has already been spectacularly successful in children's services with Book Start and the Summer Reading Challenge, and in ICT provision, despite my earlier caveats, and in work with the BBC. Now we are working on a national catalogue and a national reading offer, both of which will be launched in the spring, and a national information offer is being piloted. Our new roadmap will include new ways of delivering services. Electronic service delivery, home delivery will complement traditional libraries, not replace them. They will grow the user base. In Derbyshire, for example, our e-books loan service, introduced only 3 months ago, now has almost 2,000 members, 25% of whom are either new to libraries or had allowed their membership to lapse. And yes, that service is free. Use of our online information resources is almost doubling year on year. What do these results tell us about the potential of new technology to inject new impetus and relevance into library services? None of us know the future. None of us know whether e-books are a niche market or the way the world will be shaped. Whatever the opportunity is, we need to fit them and all the other developments I've talked about into the picture of what a modern library service is. And as the years roll on and the technology improves, so our ability to manage that technology and turn it into a different offer will keep libraries as relevant in the future as they are today and they have been in the past. The map will also set out new ways of engaging local communities, not by abdicating responsibility for service delivery, but by turning users into stakeholders and advocates. Properly managed volunteers can bring new skills, increased levels of personal support to readers and learners, older people and children. With the increasing adoption of self-service technology, they can be used to keep branch libraries open for longer. They can deliver added value while the local authority focuses on maintaining a high-quality core service. Our map will take managers and leaders in new directions. They will need to learn to operate effectively in a political environment, to become corporate managers, not narrowly service-based, to seek opportunities for partnership and growth. They will need, above all, to cement the library services place at the heart of their organisation, not just through what they say, but through their own actions. Finally, the map will steer libraries away from the numbers game that focuses on indicators and targets and takes us into the relatively uncharted territory of outcome and impact measurement. We'll need help with this, but it's essential if we are to demonstrate that we're a life-changing service on a par with education or adult care services. That's why in Derbyshire we have joined with the University of Sheffield in a 3-year doctoral project to devise a methodology to evaluate the impact of cultural services in the county. I come back finally to my opening question. Are we seeing the end of the beginning for public libraries or the beginning of the end? It's clear that things are changing. There are 4 key factors in the mix: economic pressures, demographic change, new models of democracy and governance, technology. Each of them brings challenges and opportunities. It could be that shrinking budgets and increasing demand from an ageing population are irreconcilable. Or it could equally be that new technology brings us more cost-effective ways of delivering services, and that's how users will want to interact with us in the future, a virtuous circle. 5 years ago I wrote, "I think public libraries are as relevant, useful and needed now as they have been at any time in their history. I believe that in an electronically driven, multi-choice, multitasking society, our usage figures, both real and virtual, are enviable, and our satisfaction rating with users exceptional. However, I am as concerned about the future of public libraries as I have ever been. My trepidations centre around the evident confusion and lack of confidence amongst politicians, nationally and locally, as to the purpose and value of libraries, and most worryingly of all, a lack of clarity and confidence among the public library community about the worth and relevance of the service that they deliver." We could not have known that little more than a year after I wrote that, a global recession would strike with the inevitable impact on public spending. But that lack of clarity, that lack of vision, as I have shown, meant that librarians on the whole were ill-equipped to defend their services in the face of swinging spending cuts. What we have seen as a result is a toxic mix of short-term fixes and so-called radical solutions, which risk destroying the very fabric of our services. This is not an exercise in being wise after the event. I still retain my belief and a degree of optimism. I think that if we're smart enough and flexible enough, libraries will survive. To do that, we need to harness our enduring values of inclusion, of focus on the user, of access to information and learning, with new approaches to engaging with communities of users and potential users. Other speakers this week will pick up on the conference theme of passion, people, power. That trinity sums up our role as leaders. It is our fundamental task to communicate and share our passion for the life-changing potential of public libraries in those arenas where it really counts. We need to give our people the confidence, the skills, and the freedom to deliver our vision. Most important of all, we need to operate effectively in a political environment. Find out where the levers of power are, how they work, and who pulls them. Take yourself out of your comfort zone. Get in there and make the case. Demonstrate the impact. Present a compelling vision. If we succeed, our communities will be the richer for our efforts. If we fail, the consequences will be visited on those who need us most. As a final thought, I should like to leave you with a quotation from Pericles. The sentiment involved captures perfectly the ideal to which every librarian should aspire. What you leave behind is not what is engraved in stone, but what is woven into the life of others. Thank you.
Thanks, Martin. It may not surprise you to know that Martin once played at prop forward in rugby. And it's always been a mystery to me, who never really played in that position, never quite understood what went on in the front row of a scrum. Martin has over many years, fought power struggles with politicians very effectively, and I think today we've heard evidence that Martin continues to protect his services well in the most difficult of circumstances. Most of the time I knew Martin, he was working for a Labour council, and recently he's now working for a Conservative council, and still he manages to protect the services very well. So I don't know what the secret is. I know that your speech was a little bit censored for public consumption. If anyone wants to hear the real down and dirty stories about how to protect services, in good prop forward tradition, Martin will be propping up a bar somewhere near here, I'm sure, and will be more than happy to share some of those secrets, I suspect. I know you'll be with us for the rest of the conference. We don't have time for question and answer right now. We do have a gift on behalf of us. Martin, if I don't get the chance to say this publicly again, I just want to pay tribute to the contribution that you've made to the library profession over many, many years. Congratulations on the work that you've done, and many thanks on behalf of all of us for the speech today. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin, for your opening keynote speech. A very important topic to begin the whole session with. And I can say that there's a time for things to end and a time for things to begin. Some of you will remember what libraries were like in the early 1950s. And my mother, who spoke very little English, was determined to take me to the library, Kandala Library. She took me there. It was the most frightening place I've ever been. It was full of bronze statues of bald-headed old men, dusty, cold, gloomy, and when you looked up at the librarian, she looked down at you like this. No one was allowed to make any noise. There's a place for quietness, but libraries have grown in so many ways, and I think they are so important, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about libraries every now and then. Tomorrow I'm going to tell you about the fight that the librarian in Wairua had to keep her library going. And I can also tell you that as I go to many, many libraries throughout the country, that a few years ago I was in Gisborne, and I was at the Gisborne Library, and there's some librarians working very hard in Gisborne. People think Māoris are all rapists and jailbirds, but there you see, the library was actually full of Māoris reading flat out. My mate was in there reading about how to build a house, and the same goes for the library in Hastings. So I can keep you in the know of what's going on in the libraries. Now, we're going to have a short 10-minute break, very short one, just to stretch your legs. I'm not sure whether we've got the sound working properly yet, but when you hear that conch shell, it's in the name of peace and knowledge, and do not keep peace and knowledge waiting. We shall not leave these things waiting. Please come back in here. Thank you.